I never felt that I was different, but I knew that people thought that I was different. The process started with anxiety, really, and me becoming more withdrawn as a teenager, and that became a problem. I kept going to the doctor and asking what was wrong, and they kept coming up with different reasons for why I had a problem. And I couldn't understand how my other friends who had panic attacks had been kind of cured of having panic attacks. And I realised that there must be an underlying cause to the anxiety. And with the help of my partner Gina, we looked at some different things, and she suggested Asperger's syndrome. And then we went to see a psychologist who gave me some tests and confirmed that Asperger's syndrome was the correct diagnosis. So I had maybe 13 or 14 written tests, and then some other tests like being able to identify eyes and facial expressions and what they meant. And for the first time in my life, I found out that I didn't know what people's facial expressions meant. Any of the Asperger's information which I've found out has been mainly through the internet.
Kot otrok sem bila drugačna od vrstnikov. Večina se me je izogibala, nekateri pa so se iz mene celo norčevali. Začela sem se zapirati v svoj svet.
I was diagnosed with Asperger's when I was a teenager. I struggled at difficult hard times. I didn't understand myself then.
I didn't know what to do. I was bullied by colleagues. It was quite unpleasant.
So I missed out from school and at university and where I was working, so I haven't got any contacts outside the family and one person I happen to have met.
Osnovna ideja projekta Autism Connections Europe je bila povezati med seboj odrasle osebe z avtizmom tako znotraj držav kot med državami. In zato smo zbrali spletno socialno omrežje, v našem primeru Facebook, in potem se odločili v bistvu te osnovne povezave med njimi nadgraditi srečo v realnem življenju. Izhajali smo iz predpostavke, da je komunikacija osebam z motnjo avtističnega spektra v bistvu lažja v virtualnem svetu kot pa v realnem, kar menim, da verjetno nekako velja za vse nas.
Facebook has become like a really important part of people's social life. So for an autistic person, it actually gives you the kind of ability to get included in the conversation before it started, which is really important, because if you can't get into the beginning of the conversation, trying to get in the conversation like further down the line is really hard, especially if you're kind of considered a bit on the outside. Before there was Facebook, I didn't communicate with anybody at all. I think I had like one close friend and that was it. And for me, life would have carried on being the same like that for like a whole lifetime. Maybe the last generation of autistic people just didn't go out or have friendships or communications or anything. And so I don't think Facebook can replace it, but I think it can enhance it. I think it can lead people who wouldn't ordinarily have any kind of friendships into having friendships if they want to. And I'm not even saying that everybody would want to do that. Some people just don't want to communicate at all. I actually do want to communicate with people.
Within ACE project, we conducted two main investigations. The first one was the observation of Facebook activities and the profiles of the participants, while the second one was a qualitative study of their own perspective on the project.
We found out, especially from the interviews, that the participants like using Facebook, especially to keep in touch with the 2 or 3 people with which they prefer to stay in touch, whom they meet at the international meetings.
Zvedla sem pred dobrim letom, preden smo še sprobavali. Jaz sem bila v bistvu ta prva, ki sem se na Facebook priključila s računom. Povedala mi je pa Janja za ta projekt. Pa glede na to, kako mi ga je predstavila, mi je bil takoj všeč, tako da se zaradi tega tudi priključila projektu.
The good part is that it's incorporated a bit of the feature of a personal website in that people describe themselves a little more, and that's also good to get others to a little bit like an advertisement. Others know about you, and you can ask about them, and so a little of the initiation is made automatically from both sides.
I like because we can share pictures and ideas, and it gives you the feeling you are a member of a group. It's you and your friends.
I just use it whenever I get on the computer. I've used it more recently due to Facebook, due to the game on it, but beforehand just using checking it once, at least once a week, the Gmail to start with to see how many birthdays, and then wishing in that way, and then suggesting friends and seeing what profiles and putting like and commenting if there's a new picture on.
My Facebook friends are from all over the place. So Oscar lives in London. Richard Hilton is somebody who I worked with on a Duran Duran album, and he lives in Connecticut. So if something happens in the world, like, I don't know, something interesting is happening in my world, and this is something interesting happening here. There you go, right? So I've taken a picture of you, and now I'm going to go on Twitter, and I'm going to say, having an interview with Mia. Without Facebook as an autistic person, or without internet, or without any other kind of way out of my world into the rest of the world, then I'm just on my own, sitting at home, twiddling my thumbs, staring at the roof. You know, like.
Let's begin.
Gremo v Oxford na mednarodno izmenjavo avtistov. Gre za to, da sem v društvu avtistov, pa da se spoznamo z drugih držav.
Good morning, everybody. I'd like to say an especially warm welcome to our friends from Slovenia. Where are you? Scattered. And Estonia, there and there, and Romania, here in the middle.
Mosky passed it was doing is a beat.
Different extent to think. So
It's been there for very long.
For 20 years, right?
Ko sem prvič nisem nikogar poznal, zdaj smo se komaj spoznali, prvi dan sem itak, tako kot ponavadi, samo gledal in poslušal, da približno sploh vidim, kakšen je kdo in s kom bi mogoče malo kaj skupnega, in zdaj je šele tisti, ki smo se nekako najdel, lahko da se s kom še bomo, in kot rečeno, to pride takrat, ko jaz se začutim vse. Tako gledam in pol pri enemu nekaj opazim ali pa od njega nekaj slišim, ker sploh ni nujno meni namenjeno, lahko tudi vsem nekaj razlaga in takrat si rečem, evo, to je to. In pol se najdemo in pol točno vem, da razmišlja tako kot jaz in da iz tega pol lahko nekaj rata.
I like the project because you have the opportunity to visit a lot of places. You can communicate with other people.
For me, it's a safe environment when I meet people with similar problems. I don't feel bad because I am different, and I can be as I am.
Shepherds who already knew Latin before the
I'd like to discuss
Roman army came.
history with those who liked it and know it, and like to look why the people behave so in no other way, and what they like in music and how they do music. For instance, Blaž from Slovenia started to tell me now some very interesting technical points about the sound editors he uses. He composes or makes tracks of techno music and industrial metal and so on with advanced computer tools. I didn't know about him and he told me, and it was very interesting.
Most of the locomotives are of Austrian origin. Some, from the later times, are German locomotives. You can find here even Italian locomotives and Hungarian locomotives.
In terms of some of the measures of autistic tendencies, we see some improvements. We see some improvements also in the way that people regard friendships. And people seem to be happier overall as well.
You seen the big man walking in the February moon? Have you seen him holding hands deeper in the dreams of night? Can you love the big man? Do you remember?
Prek interneta gre za kakšne take interese, za kakšno razmišljanje in deljenje svojih izkušenj, ampak vseeno treba se tudi videti, ker to pa le da nek tudi čustveni naboj in osebni stik. Če tega ni, pol tudi prek interneta meni ni dosti, tako nekako.
Real contact with people is what gives you the feeling of joy, of having friends, of being a part of the world.
I was looking for a new man on the internet, and I came across Mark's picture, and I thought he looks quite nice. He looks quite different from the sort of man that I'd normally go for, but he looks quite nice. But what drew me to him is that he listed his interests on there, and his interests that he listed were things like cars and motorbikes and old buildings and things like that, and that really kind of got me quite interested. We arranged to meet up, and I met him at a tube station in London. And the first time I heard his voice was when he phoned me from the tube station to say that he was there, because I worked in an office across the road. And it was a real shock because his voice didn't match up with the personality that I'd had coming across on Messenger.
I think when most people meet me, I can come across as a kind of aloof, arrogant, distant kind of character. So when new people meet me and they find me like that, it's quite easy for people to not like me as much as they might like somebody who's very warm and, what's the word, like a touchy-feely kind of person.
I was half expecting not to hear anything back from him at all, because the vibes, the feeling that I got from him when I met with him was that he wasn't really all that interesting. And if we hadn't have had that firm grounding beforehand, I don't think that we would have made it as a couple. I think it helped us to get together.
Najbolj se z Radujem štekam, z Nerčo, on je pa tudi iz Romunije, redu dečko. Paca, ful ga zanimajo orgle pa cerkev pa tako. A skupaj so bila na čom.
I got some friends in England like Tom. It's a good person. He's very energized, he likes sports like me. 23 years old, we're in the same age, like 20s, and he talks much.
If I'm different, then that's stressful because I don't fit into other people's ideas about how I should be. So if I can find other social groups of people who are similar to me or who are the same, and I can communicate with them, and I can find out that actually it's okay for me to be the way that I am, then that means that I don't have to be so stressed about it, and that means that I'm going to live longer actually. And if I can't do that face to face and I can do that on the internet, then it has to be good.
Ja, po mojem bom prvo šla na računalnik. In malo preverite, prečekirate elektronsko pošto, kdo mi je kaj pisal, pa tako. Pa malo na Facebook, povedati, da sem priletela dom.
Lahko pa mi dva zdaj skupino odpravijo, pa jo... Se bomo tako dali, da bodo vsi administratorji, ne?
Skupine, ustvari skupino, evo, dodaj prijateljsko skupini. Vse.
Ja, mislim, da po srečanjih veliko več se dogaja na Facebooku, veliko več ljudi je gor, ker vsi dajo fotografije iz srečanj gor, pa tudi vtisi prvi so še in sveži in si jih zmenjamo.
Tako je, niti nisem imel kakšnih posebnih idej, kaj bom tle doživel, niti kam od tega odnesel, sem pa vedel, da bo nekaj novega in da na eni točki bo toliko enih novih doživetij, da bom pol lahko o tem razmišljal nazaj glede in v prihodnjih dnevih. In takrat bom šele, po moje, se res zavedel, kaj mi je to dalo.
It's a good opportunity to get to places that I would not have done it without my initiative, and also my money and family money are quite limited. So it was great to have this opportunity to, if the group moves, the group also gives some initiative to you. You have to move along.
I had got from this project international contacts, new experiences. I had improved my English language. I know different cultures and customs. I know other countries with different landscapes. I have improved my computer skills.
I can pack my luggages on my own. I can manage in airport safely. I know better how to use Facebook safely.
I feel more confident in myself, and I want more to meet other people and to interact with them.
Upam, da bom še s kom ostala v kontaktu, ne vem pa neodvisno. ko bojo ostali. Če bo še ostali, jaz sem razmišljala, da bom pustila tako, kot imam zdaj račun tudi pol.
May